So I'm really excited about today because I have 3 designs from different parts of the country that are simple, they're low maintenance, they are budget friendly, and they are going to add value to your home. If you are looking to spruce up your curb appeal, if you're looking for some clever and some easy ideas that you can do in a weekend, this is the video for you. Let's get into it. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Bobby K. I'm a professional landscape designer and I'm a general contractor, and I love to help busy people enhance their spaces, add value to their homes, whether it's the front yard or the backyard. Those are the 2 areas that we focus on. If you are interested in that kind of stuff, make sure you hit subscribe, because every single week we're gonna have something new. I'm gonna teach you some design techniques, and I'm gonna tell you how much all this stuff costs, right? If you're gonna do it yourself or if you're gonna hire somebody. So our first design, we're gonna go out to Chino, California. Now, if you're in the Midwest or you're somewhere where it's a little cold, do not worry, because I'm gonna show you some cool principles with the shapes of the lawn as well as the beds, and then the planting is something that's gonna pertain to your zone, but we'll get into that. So let's start it out. The first thing is, this home is a little dated, it needs a little updating. The architecture is pretty cool, it's got this nice stonework, but we want some kind of transition to get to the front door. So the first thing we're gonna do is carve out a walkway, and we wanted to go with a little bit of a modern flair. That was one of the requests of the client. They also said they like symmetry, so I am pushing the envelope on this one because I went a little the other way, and it's gonna make sense by the end of the design, but this symmetrical feel is accomplished with this walkway. We did some decomposed granite, we've got some steppers, and then we got a little bit of a transition so that when you come out of your car, you can come in from the driveway and then go up. So it brings the design, bam, right out to the sidewalk and creates a presence. That's the first thing. The second thing is, now we're gonna get into the curves. This is where the symmetry kind of goes out the window. We want a little asymmetry, but believe it or not, by the end of this, they loved the design because they were like, I hadn't thought of it that way. So what I did is I started to create some curves and bring them out away from the house, and then even took some landscaping down the side. So I defined their property from their neighbors. I'm not to say that you can't have grass to grass from neighbor to neighbor, but this was a cool way to basically create depth in this design. So we created these big sweeping hooks of various, you can do this out of spray paint, you could put flags out there, you could put a hose until you get the curves right that you like, and then you're gonna take a spade shovel and carve all that out. So now you see that it's got this kind of lagoon shape for the lawn, which is super easy to cut with a lawnmower, and now we've got these big beautiful beds that we can now landscape. So number 3, we're gonna get into the landscaping. I always like to start with the bigger stuff, which isn't some humongous stuff in this particular design. We started with a potato tree out on the corner, creating a little bit of a sphere, a little bit of pop. Then we've got birds of paradise in the back. I put in a chasta tree. I've got some agave, as well as some yuccas, which are those sword yuccas. So we've got some variation. They're variegated. So they've got a darker color on the inside and they're lighter on the outside. It really creates some cool texture and color pop. Finally, we start to get in there with all of the fun little things to create. These are low maintenance, and I'll tell you why. Most of this is perennials after the fact. We've got some baskets of gold, the yellow stuff, some blue fescue, put in some catmint and some lavender around that tree. And then I started to just paint it up with some flowers, but they're all perennials. Perennials, for one thing, are cheap. You can get a 1 gallon and they can get to a bigger size. In a season, they're only $15 to $20, so you can spackle those guys in. And then they come back every year, so there's not a ton of maintenance. Whereas, like if you get annuals, you plant them and you got to keep replanting every single year. Of course, you can go to bushes, but bushes are going to require some trimming and shaping, and they're going to get bigger. That's going to be some maintenance down the road. Where perennials, they kind of are one and done. Sometimes you got to cut off the flowers and deadhead them, but other than that, this is in and out, and look at the texture and the color and the variation that was created with this. So we got the walkway, we got the different pops, you got a cute boulder in there to kind of break it up, and then you have all these sweeping curves. If you're gonna do this yourself, because of the 1 gallon perennials, which don't chew up the budget, you're gonna be in around, I would say, $2,500 to $3,000 all in on those materials. If you are going to put new sod in versus seating, probably can add $500 onto that. So let's say $3,500 on the high side. If you're gonna pay somebody, I think that with the lighting and everything else, you're gonna get in between that $8,000 to $10,000. So of course, budget friendly is relative to whoever, but this is what it takes to add some significant value to your home. This is going to add, I would say, at least 20 grand to the value of this home because it is such a transformation. It's such a difference. And this is the kind of stuff that when you take the pictures as a realtor, that jumps off the page and gets people in the door. Let's go on to number 2. Experiencing technical difficulties, went to screen record everything and somehow I didn't save it. So bam, here's the computer, we're on the fly. I actually did this last week, and if you want to go see that video, which did very well, go check this out. I got 3 awesome designs in there, and I even have a little fun and a little humor with the movie Waiting Tables. If you know that movie, go check it out. You'll really like this video. But back on point here. What we've got is a blank canvas. It's how to landscape around a driveway. If you want to enhance your driveway, that also is huge for curb appeal. But I want to show you a way to do it that is low maintenance but has a dramatic impact. We're going to go back over to that symmetry kind of feel, which means you're essentially balancing out both sides of your design exactly the same. And that's what we chose to do here. So the reason this is low maintenance and it doesn't chew up a bunch of budget is because we just picked some easy bushes that are between $30 and $40 when you get them in a 3 to sometimes a 5 gallon, and then we rinse and repeat it, okay? We've got some soft touch hollies right here. These could also be green velvet boxwoods. Let me show you what that looks like. Really pretty. And we lined along the driveway, bam. We've also got some red twig dogwoods right here on both sides. I really like these in the halo version especially because they've got this beautiful green with like a variegated leaf, and then they can turn over into this amber kind of orange look. And then when everything goes dormant in the winter, they have red stems. So if you got snow on the ground, you got the red and white. They're one of my go-tos. I really love them, and they work in most climates. So we've got our soft touch hollies or boxwoods here. We got our red twig dogwoods here on both sides, spackled in some boulders. This actually could be one big boulder. I just kind of put a group of boulders. I thought that was kind of fun, but you can do whatever you want. That's, you know, I think it's just something cool, like a focal point. Right as you come in, just bam, you get hit with the boulders. If you're not that good at driving, maybe you don't put this in and you just put like a grass of some sort on both sides. That would be an easy way. As you can see, they're intimate beds. We just carved them out, and then we did a sweeping hook and just kind of dove into the back. You don't have to go along the whole wood line. You're just making the driveway look cool. Now, of course, we've got this gate. I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. But before we do, one way to add height and a little bit of interest is I love to put little circles out here and put some kind of ornamental tree. Right here, we've got holly trees, but these could be a flowering cherry. If you're in a tropical setting, these could be palm trees. If you don't want trees, you could do a cool, beautiful flowering bush, a rose of Sharon, a magnolia. It's whatever, right? The point is, you've got a symmetrical layout on both sides that really captures your eye. And what does it do? It makes you zone in right on the driveway, like bam. Now, of course, this gate and this stonework is not budget friendly. It's not cheap. It is low maintenance because it's a one and done, but this is right here is gonna add 10 to 15 grand because this is more than likely on a remote, it opens up, there's electric involved, it's all that. But they obviously wanted to make a statement for this. So all in, let's take out the gate and let's just talk about the bushes going back, the trees on the side. We got some forsythia in the backdrop here, these nice yellow, and then some little Hamlin grasses and boulders, easy. You're in, I would say around probably about 3,500 to 4 grand, about the same as the last one. If you're gonna hire someone to do this, taking the gate out, I would say you could be in about $7,500 to do the whole project. Yeah, the gate, we just talked, it'd be about 10 to 15 grand, just depends on who's doing it, but there's a lot of components that go into that. Let's go to number 3. Okay, we're back on point. This one did record. So before I get into this design out of Diamond, California, I ask that you just hit that like button. That is how other people find this channel and can get help with their landscaping. It is huge. I really appreciate it. And let's get into this design. So we're gonna take some of the principles we learned in the last one, but I also wanna show you a technique called alternating. That's what I call it, because that's essentially what you are doing in the landscaping. First thing we started to do was created a transition from the door over to the driveway by pouring a concrete walkway. Pretty simple stuff, but it's kind of nice to get out of the driveway and actually be able to get to the door, and that was missing. So that was the first thing. The second thing we did was we took the principle of getting those beds out away from the house, and we actually pulled them off of the sidewalk, gave lots of beautiful curves, and we started to designate a couple of areas for some bigger trees to create some height. So we've got a circle out in the middle, and then we've got two, one by the driveway, off enough, at least 15 feet, and then on the other side of the driveway. We did an orange tree, which is gonna have a presence. That's a beautiful focal point. And then we did some golden cedars on the other side, okay? So then once we started to get into the actual landscaping, those curves are popping out in certain spots, and they're on purpose. Wherever you have a big hook, I always like to put some kind of focal point. What I did here was pretty simple. I took a bush called Birds of Paradise, which does well in that climate, and I just put 3 of them in there so that it's got this almost, it's a cohesive feel, right? We've got the same thing kind of flowing. And then we also, one thing I forgot is we have another circle under the trees and out where there's a utility box. So we just put some grasses out there so that it can hide the utilities. Anytime you got a utility box, you got to make a decision. Are you going to leave it out there and it's exposed, or are you going to create something and try to plant around it? That's what we chose here. Finally, that alternating effect comes into play. Did it very simply and from a budget-friendly and low-maintenance perspective. I took Hamlin grasses, which are like a fountain grass, and blue fescue grasses, and just alternated those along the sidewalk to give it this wispy, flowy, kind of textury feel. All you gotta do is around St. Patty's Day or in the winter, or if you're in California, you probably don't have to do anything. You just cut them down to a couple inches and they pop back out. Pretty easy, and they are not that expensive. Each of those is between $20 and $30. So that's a one-time investment. That's not a ton of money and has a big impact. Now the whole walkway is lined with these beautiful grasses, right? The other thing we did is up against the fence, I wanted to break that up. We put some agave in and some of those yuccas, the sword ones that are variegated. So we've got different heights and textures and colors going on at the same time. All in, this thing is not very expensive. The trees usually eat up between $200 to $300 a piece. You know, that's kind of a given. Sometimes they're even more. I would say with the trees, with the grasses, the Birds of Paradise, we've got some foxtail ferns and boulders underneath the other trees. You're all in at about $400 to $4,500. If you are going to hire someone to do this, I think this is about a $10,000 investment. Like I said, it's all relative. Budget friendly means different things to different people. But if you look at the value of the house and what this is bringing value to the house. Not only do you bring value to the house, but you also are enjoying it, right? When you're living there, you're enjoying it. And when you go to sell, you got 10 years of beautiful landscaping instead of just waiting until you sell and keep it as grass. You know, like I said, it's different for everybody. But this is a design that I absolutely love. Light up your investment, you're good to go. If you want to see that other video where I kind of boof it up, but it's got a lot of great tips, go check it out. I also got a great playlist of projects right over here that I think you will absolutely love. You want to see the real installs, the real goods, they're right here. Like I said, like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. This is Bobby K saying creation is everything, so go out and create. See ya.
I never answer to no, man, I still go, 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 go.